Yes, this is the 260. I'm Joe Walburn. I'm joined by the man they call the mayor of the 260, Dave Rickert. And we've got Matt Brumball riding shotgun. And man, you know, we love our football in the 260, and I got to tease it a little bit. I'm excited about the Payne brothers coming up on the next segment, so we're going to kind of take that journey with them. But right now, we got to get our Big Joe update. And Brummy, you've been watching the Hard Knocks
Yes,
with
I
Big
have.
Joe and the Jets, and right now it's JETS, and we're going to be joined by Matt O'Leary, who has Just Jets Pod. So, man, Matt, thanks for being with us. You know, we're excited to have you, brother. If we want to know
Matt.
about the Jets, you're the man, Matt. And
Look at his background.
look at that, JETS. And you know what? The 260 has a history with the Jets, baby. We had the great Jason Fabini,
Yes.
as you know. And then, Matt, 25 years later, same high school, same area, a kid that we refer to lovingly, Big Joe Tippmann comes along. So we're hoping, Matt, that Joe can find a spot. We're hoping the injury, we need an update from you on the injury, hoping he's okay. But we're just so proud and excited. He's number 28 in our area of guys that have played in the league.
And that's what I was telling you, Matt. When pound per pound, we're number one, man.
Yeah,
With
we are
NFL
the
players.
putting guys in the NFL.
We've
the
had
260.
we've had 3 players now from this area, 2 from the same high school, play for the Jets.
That's
Mike
awesome.
Augustiniak, Jason Fabini, and now Big Joe.
Yep.
Yeah, Big Joe, baby.
That's pretty nuts.
Yes.
Bridges the gap.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's
And-
awesome. We have some great stories about Fabini, don't we?
Well, Joe went to school at Cincinnati with Jason. University of Cincinnati.
Jason was 6'7".
He was the quarterback.
I watched Jason at 6'7", over 300 pounds, once run a 6-minute mile. And it reminded me of the movie Terminator when Schwarzenegger's running down the neighborhood. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but it's just, you know what, Matt? We're excited, too, about the Jets. I mean, we kind of talked about it, and I told Dave, I said, I think he's going to end up with the Jets. And so
He
we're
called it.
excited, man.
He really called it.
Matt, you know, kind of take us through. We're excited about the Jets, and seems like Aaron Rodgers is almost reborn and has kind of a new energy with you guys.
Yeah, it really feels that way. It's so exciting for us here with the Jets. They have the longest active playoff drought right now.
Yes.
It's been 12 years since they've been in the playoffs, so fans have been just itching to be relevant for a really, really long time. And last year started out good. They were 7-4 and then lost their last 6 games to finish 7-10. So we're hoping that Aaron Rodgers and the upgrade at quarterback is going to be the difference with this team this year. But yeah, expectations are pretty high, and I think rightfully so. They had last year a great defense. Their offense just was.
Yeah, defense was awesome. Defense was awesome, and you guys drafted a kid from my school, Sauce Gardner, and Sauce never gave up a touchdown. A lot of people thought, man, we don't know, but he was kind of like that. He's about 6'1", 6'2", about $180, $190, kind of that rangy NFL corner, and it kind of felt like last year with you guys' defense that was kind of a missing link, and I think you guys had about a top 10 defense last year, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. He absolutely was. They brought in DJ Reed, the other corner in free agency, and the addition of Sauce Gardner. He is just so special watching him play. They don't make corners like that. He's long, he's lanky,
Yes.
he has great speed. He can get his long arms up there and defend the passes. He allowed 1 touchdown as a rookie, and it was even a borderline one where you could maybe make the case it was more on the safety. That's how good he was as a rookie.
Now, Matt, it feels like lately the Jets have done a good job drafting. They had a knock on them for a while. Do you feel like that with, obviously, with your expertise with the team? It feels like they've done a better job the last few years drafting.
Well, they did their homework on Joe.
Yeah, they definitely did. They wanted a center who could get out in space with his size and do some damage, and we've seen it so far in the preseason. But yeah, I mean, just in general, the last 2 years they've built a lot through the draft, which is something that they really struggled with their past GM,
Yes.
Mike McCagnon.
Big time.
He was here with us from
Great
2013 through 2019. Was
Yes.
it? So 4 years.
He hurt you guys.
Bad, real bad. Don't get big reason for that longest active playoff drought
Yes.
thing, but Joe Douglas has come in here and done a nice job. They really tore it down to the studs.
Yes, they did.
But they slowly built it back up year over year. And with last year's draft class, and then hopefully with the addition of this year's draft class, and obviously bringing in Aaron Rodgers, that should help progress things a little quicker.
Hey, Matt, real quick. I mean, I saw one of your episodes, and you bring up, you predict that Big Joe will be starting after the bye week. I saw an interview with Connor McGovern, and it's pretty solid what he said. He goes, "Look, I know why I'm here. I'm here to mentor Big Joe. It happened to me when I came in the league. I had guys help me." He goes, "It's a business, and I will do what they want." Talk about Connor McGovern in that statement.
Yeah, I was really, happy to hear that because, sometimes in this league you get guys who they don't want to mentor. They feel like that guy's coming for their job. They don't want to lose their job. But
Sure, especially the money on the line, man.
Yeah, no, 100%. And
it was a solid statement.
Yeah, it's 100%. And he re-signed on a 1-year deal, so he's not the long-term answer. He knows the drill.
Sure.
Took someone in the second round that is going to be the long-term answer. But right now with Joe's injury, Saleh said that he expects him to be ready to go for week 1, that's great news.
I saw you
do we have any idea what the injury is, though?
Well, Matt did another pod where he said the whole mysterious injury of Joe Tippmann. When did it happen in the game? I've watched so much footage, I don't see nothing.
No, that's the crazy thing because
it's nuts.
Nobody knew until the coach, Robert Saleh, said something after the game. And then I went back to try to watch and see what play it happened on. Couldn't really tell. And then it was 2-3 days later before they, mentioned it. All they would say is it's a knee. That's all we got now with the knee.
I even texted Big Joe, and I was like, "Hey, man, I hope this ain't serious." No reply. I texted him about
it's a blackout.
I texted him today about the show with you. He texts back. So I'm like you with a mysterious injury. What's going on there?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm hopefully everything all good. It seems that way. We're really excited about Joe here. A long term. Like I said, they might bring him on a little bit slowly in this first year, but he's just so talented. I think eventually he pushes for that starting spot at some point this year.
Hey, Matt, I got a question for you about Aaron Rodgers. Just what kind of mentorship has he shown to Zach Wilson? Because as you stated, and a lot of guys don't like to do that. And in the past, I don't know that he had that great relationship with Jordan Love in Green Bay. And it's like big brother, little brother, and everything's kind of going in the right direction. So, what do you see? I mean, just watching from afar, it seems that Aaron's really enjoying that role of being the mentor.
Yeah, he's really taken that on, which is awesome. When the Jets were pursuing Aaron Rodgers, the Packers fans and media kind of painted this narrative that, Aaron was a bad guy, really selfish, only cared about himself, and kind of held the Packers in limbo for a few years there and didn't want to help Jordan Love. But it's been the complete opposite with him here. He, was there every single OTA practice in the offseason. He's been in training camp. He's been out with, getting to know the teammates, and he's, in the facility every day. And with Zach, they had a relationship before Aaron Rodgers came here. So I think that helped.
Well, they did, really. I didn't know that, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, supposedly they spoke. There was in Zach's rookie year, they did a joint practice with Green Bay, but they kept in touch. He would text him every once in a while, and it's something that I think Zach was really excited about, to get someone that he's admitted that he grew up idolizing. That's one of his guys who inspired him. And it was very obvious that he was mentally kind of broken from what he's gone through the last couple of years here in New York. It didn't go very well at all.
New York will break you.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's tough. You know, the fans are hungry, especially Jet fans. It's been a long time since they've had success. The media is tough. Like I totally get it, but it was obvious he needed a mental reset, and I think this is the
Sure.
perfect kind of reset for him.
I think
You know,
he loves having Aaron call plays for him because they all
Yeah.
score.
Yeah, that's right. The big throw to Malik
Yeah.
Taylor in the preseason game. It's cool to really see them work together and him help Zach along the way.
Speaking of a reset, and this will kind of get into Joe too. Talk to us about Becton. You know, the big tackle that was drafted, I believe, out of Louisville. Just really hasn't seemed to gotten any tread or gotten going. And with that question, you know, are there thoughts too of you know, we know Joe's going to end up as the center, but will we also see Joe maybe at the guard position, Matt?
Yeah, so with Becton, I felt bad for Makai. He had a really nice rookie season in 2020.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt and missed each of the last 2 seasons. He got
Sure.
hurt in the first game in 21, and then in training camp last year hurt his knee and was out for the season. But he's worked back, you know, and they've taken him very slowly, but he's finally you know, getting reps with the ones at right tackle.
Do you think that skill set is still there, Matt?
Yeah,
for Becton?
I definitely do. We've seen it in training camp in the preseason. It's just a matter of health
Gotcha.
for him. If he can stay
Okay.
healthy, he could be a really solid player. But yeah, with some of the Jets' offensive line earlier in camp was pretty banged up. Dwayne Brown hadn't reported yet at that point, the left tackle. And then Elijah Vera Tucker, who slotted in to play right guard this year, was a little banged up. And Laken Tomlinson, same thing. So what they did do, they put Tippmann in at left guard for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He held it down over there. And I think ideally they want him to be the long-term center, but I
Sure.
think due to his, you know, flexibility, he can play guard in a pinch if need be.
He can play all 5 positions.
Now,
I believe that.
Now, Matt, when you step back and you analyze the Jets, what is the strength of the Jets, in your opinion? And what is the part of the Jets team that gives you the most heartburn and the most concern?
So to me, the strength of this team is the defensive line. They are just so
Yeah.
I agree. Awesome.
yeah, that defensive line
Dan Green's
was
pretty damn good.
Yeah, I agree.
That's right. That defensive line was strong, and then they added, you know, a first-round draft pick and Will McDonald on the edge there.
Sure.
You know,
Awesome.
they paid Quinnen Williams big money, and you know,
I think that was
deservedly-
good money for Williams. Do you agree, Matt? I think he's worth it.
100%.
Yeah.
He's definitely worth it. He's still, you know, he's just entering his prime now. You know, at 25 years old, he's just hitting his stride. You know, he's been a great addition to this team and developed over the last few years. But that defensive line is just nasty. Honestly, the thing that scares me about this team is the offensive line. Not that
Exactly.
they don't have talent there, but Becton's injury history,
Yes.
you know, that's a question mark. Dwayne Brown, the left tackle's, you know, 38 years old and coming off of shoulder surgery. Elijah Vera Tucker at right guard, love AVT. He had a season-ending injury last year. And then you have, you know, at center, I love Joe Tippmann. I'm excited about him, but you know, he's a rookie center. He's going to have,
Correct.
you know,
Is
his
he ready?
bumps in the road. Yeah, exactly. So there's some question marks with the line. If everyone's healthy and performing to their peak, I think they will be fine. But there's just a lot of variance with the line because you throw 1 or 2 injuries in there and it could fall apart pretty quickly,
I
unfortunately.
love.
I saw an interview with Rodgers where, you know, he's talking before last week's preseason game about, you know, Big Joe going to guard, and he goes, you know, it's a learning process, and it's really not fair to the kid, but he, you know, he's got to do it quickly.
Well, he's athletic and he's just got so much
I think
size.
Aaron wants him in the lineup.
Well, he does, and it's funny because he's so big.
Yeah,
you
he's
know, and
6'6".
that was the knock on him, Matt, when we watched his draft. You know, the criticism of him in the draft was he was just too big, too tall for center. You know, which we kind of thought was funny because he was so athletic. But I agree with you on the offensive line. You know, it's funny about Dwayne Brown when he played for the Seahawks. He always came to camp late, and one year they said, well, what are you doing? He says, well, I'm finishing up all my time in a pizzeria. I'm going to enjoy myself. But he is an all-pro tackle for many, many years. You're right, he's 38. But he's a guy, Dave, that it was just like one of those guys that could just show up and put the pads on, and he can play. And you're right about Tucker. I wouldn't want to move him away from guard. I think he's an all-pro guard, and boy, I don't want to kick him out to tackle, and I don't have to. So, boy, you're right. They really need Becton to slide in at right tackle, And if Brown and Becton can work out, man, I think you guys got something there. And maybe it takes a while for our love for Joe to step up. But if those bookend tackles for the Jets do well, Matt, I think you guys are going to be on your way, because I think you're pretty solid everywhere else.
Lastly,
yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I'm
I
with you.
agree.
Lastly, what do you think about the wide receiver retiring?
Surprised, very surprised.
Which
He
wide
was away
receiver was that?
Corey Davis.
Corey Davis.
Okay.
Yeah, Corey Davis. That was a surprise yesterday. 28 years old.
Yeah, something's odd on that, Matt.
Yeah, I hope everything's okay with him in his personal life.
Sure.
That's what it sounds like.
At 28, and leave. He had a $10 million contract
Yeah.
on the table this year. So to leave that money on the table, obviously I think something's going on. So.
Now, how bad does this hurt you?
Corey is probably going to be the Jets' number 2 or 3 receiver, so
Yes.
it's not ideal. I think they're going to have to get creative here. Maybe it's not in time for the season, but I would expect them to be active at the trade deadline. These teams are falling out of it, and then potentially make a move mid-season for a receiver, because they brought in Alan Lazard, who's comfortable with Rodgers, and he would probably slot in behind Garrett Wilson, I would guess, but there's a little bit of a hole there now at that.
I thought it would be. I mean, it's baffling that 28 you quit.
Yeah.
Oh, we know that all too well with Andrew Luck around here. So.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't get started on
that's
that.
still hurting us.
Night before, wasn't it, or something like
Yeah.
that? Or the
Yeah,
week,
about a week
week
before.
before,
Yeah.
maybe the week before.
Yeah, we haven't recovered yet.
Today's the anniversary, so yeah,
Is
it's
it? Yeah, you're
misery.
a little bitter, huh?
Yeah, a little bitter.
Matt, now you're out east. When you sit down and watch the Jets, man, what's that football meal that you go to, man? Is there a place you love to eat out there and watch the Jets, or is there a dish? Because when I think of football, man, I think of, beer and podcasts, but you can't help but think of food. What's that dish, man, or that food that you love to sit? If it's Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock, it's the Jets and the Patriots, man, and you're looking for some type of dish or something to eat. What are you eating, Matt?
I'm a big wings guy. I'll get some
Buffalo
buffalo wing. Yeah, there we go.
New
Buffalo
York.
wing, buffalo wing, something
What's the
like
best
that.
wing place out there you like, Matt?
So I usually go at the spot called The Local. It's in Babylon out here on Long Island.
No, let's
They
go
have-
Long Island, baby. Wings on Long Island, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, there we go. I'm a Long Island kid, and that's the best wing spot that I know of. I love getting their stuff on game day.
What team in the AFC East gives you heartburn that you're concerned about as a Jets fan? Is it still the Bills with Josh Allen, or are you kind of looking down at Miami thinking, man, Miami's got a lot of pieces, and maybe we're not as concerned about the Patriots?
Yeah, to me, I still think it's Buffalo. They've kind of owned this division the last few years, and Josh Allen's been a great quarterback, and they've been in the playoffs and in the mix, competing for a Super Bowl the last few years. I think they're still the favorites in the AFC East until proven otherwise. You mentioned Miami. I think they're an extremely talented team. For them, I wonder how Tua can stay healthy,
Yes.
or if he can
Right.
stay healthy. That's the biggest thing there. He hasn't, been able to do it through 3 years in the league so far.
He's too little.
Yeah, I think that has something to do with it.
He's
to be
too
honest.
little.
Well, those hits
And-
are huge.
Yeah.
And when you're 6'1", we kind of, I think, and Matt, you can speak to this, we kind of got spoiled with Drew Brees being a 6 foot or 6'1" quarterback. That's just a really difficult thing to do in the NFL. And Brummy, just the hits and really the ability. He almost had to learn how to fall when he was hit. So I agree. I think Miami's loaded, but I think Tua's a big question mark.
Hey, Matt, did you watch Quarterbacks on Netflix?
I thought it was fantastic. I loved it.
And that's what Joe's talking about. Those hits that Cousins takes, they're in the same spot every time, and the sounds that guy makes is just unreal, man. That's pain.
Yeah, I have a lot more respect for Kirk Cousins after watching
Yes,
that. The hits,
yes.
getting back up. I think he gets a lot of unnecessary hate thrown his way a lot of
Yeah.
times, but he's a gamer.
Yes, he
He's
is
so
a gamer.
And he bet on himself every time. Made some money betting on himself.
I don't know where that little Lake Michigan beach house is up on the west side of Michigan, but how they had that secret door, Matt.
Yeah.
And they opened that secret door, and you walk in
Into his shrine.
It's like the Kirk Cousin Hall of Fame. And I saw that, and I thought to myself, that was the little look behind the door of Kirk Cousins. That was the secret to Kirk Cousins, was how competitive
Yep.
he is. That's a guy I bet when you were a kid and you played checkers or something, you beat him in checkers, he was probably pissed off. You know, I mean, just that competitiveness, Matt. You know.
Yeah, and you need that to be an NFL
Yes, you do.
quarterback.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
It's a certain mentality that you have to have, and I think that's why these guys are so successful.
He has the drive.
Well, I'll tell you what, Matt. The last time you guys played in the AFC Championship game, I remember I was sitting down at Tubby's watching it. I think the Jets were playing the Broncos, and Vinny Testaverde was the quarterback. And if I remember right at the time, before he had passed away, his father was having a lot of heart problems. So his father would get so excited watching the game, so they told Vinny Testaverde's father, you can't watch the game. So he had to kind of like check in and get the reports. I think it ended up maybe it was a 10-0 game or something, but that was back when the Jets, won some playoff games. So you guys, it's been a drought, but man, there's still a lot of good memories with the franchise.
Yeah, that was back in '98.
Oh my
Vinny
gosh,
Testaverde.
sorry. That was a while ago, man.
It's a long time ago.
He's a Long Island guy too, Vinny.
Vinny, I always heard great things about Vinny.
Yeah. So he's a little bit of a local legend here too, being from Long Island. But
Yeah,
they were
he
in
is.
with Rex Ryan and Mark Sanchez. They went on a couple runs. in
They had some
2000.
good runs.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely,
Oh,
man. So, tell you what, Dave.
Hey, man.
Last question though. Last question before we wrap up. In your opinion, Matt, kind of give us the scouting report on Big Joe. Give us some love on Big Joe, but also, kind of project when you think Joe will maybe line up, start in that offensive line. When do you think that might be? Do you think it is going to be the center position? Kind of, we're so proud of Joe. Joe's worked so hard. Give us a little bit of your analysis and the scouting report on our boy from the 260, Big Joe Tippmann.
Yeah, he's shown how dominant he could be in the run game already early on in training camp in the preseason. We talked a lot about his size and his strength, and just being able to get out in space is what gets me excited. They set up a lot of screen passes too when he was in, and just seeing him, move and take care of the linebackers, out in space. Really, really impressive stuff. I think by the bye week is a good time. I'm going to stick with that prediction. They have a pretty early bye this week. I believe it's week 7. Right?
Week 7.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think maybe around the halfway point in the season, they make the switch. He's been so good.
Yes.
Initially on that the first unofficial depth chart, he was listed as the 3rd center, and some fans freaked out. They go, "Oh my God! Now you took this kid in the 2nd round, and he's behind Wes Schweitzer and all this." And within a 2 or 3 week span, he played so well in the preseason. They bumped him up and splitting reps with the ones.
Love Joe.
Well, he had the most snaps before last week, and he had the most snaps of anybody on the line.
Yeah, and he did a lot with it. He looked very, very good. He was splitting time with the ones, and I think it's only a matter of time before he comes for McGovern's good job.
Okay, last question. Putting you on the spot. Look in your crystal ball. How many wins this year for the Jets? What's that regular season record going to look like?
Ooh, I'm gonna go 11-6.
Let's go.
Nice.
All right,
Nice.
big
Let's
fella.
go. I see you. Yeah, I see you. Let's go.
Hey, man, I really want to. I'm very thankful you took the time to be on our show. Reaching out to you, talking with you. I love watching all your work.
Good work.
Very thankful, buddy.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt.
Yep, thank you, Matt. JETS, baby. Let's
Jets.
go. And Big Joe. And I tell you what, we love our football, man. And so thank you, Matt. It's a pleasure to have you on the 260, and all the best to our guy, Big Joe Tippmann,
Yep.
Dave,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yeah, I mean, when the coach says week 1, expects him fully ready. There's just something weird about this. I think he might be ready. Week 1.
Yeah.
Might be ready?
Ready.
What do you say? Ready.
Yeah, he's ready.
Speaking of ready,
We're ready for
everybody's
Payne
ready
brothers.
for the brothers. That's right. A name spoken with pride, Payne. And if you love high school football, you love some of the great brothers. How about the Smith brothers? That's a great pair of brothers. But you know what? We got another great pair of brothers coming up. That's right. It's Braden and Cohen Payne up next on the 260.